Hey, everybody. We're getting to the scary news first. We don't want to do that. Today is, I don't even know what day it is. It's been a very hectic day. A lot of things going on. And people are asking, is there potential of a blow-off top this year, or are things different? Or have we reached the double top? Where do we go next? Should we pack our bags and go? A lot of things are very uncertain in this market, and I'll try and get a feel for where we are by looking at data, nothing else. No emotions, just data. So let's get into the story. This is called Blow Off Top, and of course, not financial advice. And my old software is back because StreamYard is dead and it's no good. But shout out to, I got to blow it up so I can see it myself. The Koi partner. I love koi fish. New Patreon member since today. Thanks, James. Wow. Thank you for joining. Great to have you part of the group. So let's get into the first story. Everybody's asking, where are we going this year? Where? How high? So it's a good time to check in with Kalshi. Last time I shared the Kalshi report about a month ago, the price target was $145K, and that's come down now to $134,000. Oh, by the way, let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see my face while I'm talking to the slides or not. Let me know, because the old thing, people are claiming I was too small. Other people said, it's good that I'm too small. Who cares? Anyway, let me know, because we can use this, of course, as well. But this is the Kalshi prediction market expectation of price right now. And it's $134,000. You can see we've come off quite a bit. If we go back to literally last month, there was 146,000. So it has come down a wee little bit. And next in the box, we have this one. This is really the story today. Are we looking at a blow off top? Now, this is from Alfractal. It's a new crypto Bitcoin analyst, on-chain analyst firm, and they've got some very interesting pieces of information that are a little bit different. But what this shows is what some people have been talking about out there, like Jordi Visser and others. We talked about how the power of a large swelling of short positions are at this $113,000 level, precisely where we are inching toward. We got real close there. And if Bitcoin does get to this level and there's a huge buildup of leverage bets against Bitcoin, this creates a condition for a classic short squeeze. And if that happens, and if there's no Bitcoin available to cover, this could accelerate buying pressures and drive Bitcoin to that so-called blow-off top. And especially with all the Treasuries buying right now. Again, so much open interest is stacked here that this surge may mark, of course, a local top. This would dovetail nicely into, again, what Jordi has been saying, that there could come a time when we do get that extreme crunch, short covering, short squeeze, whatever you want to call it. It is theoretically possible, but let's dig a little bit deeper and find out what's potentially behind that. This one is yet another chart. This is the realized cap impulse, also from Alfractal. And you can see here, it is consistently shown, been hanging around this kind of midline, baseline in the middle, as you can see right there. Now, as of now, we are show accumulation behavior, not distribution. We'll talk about a bit of distribution in a second. And we're still moderately valued. Nothing is too hot. Nothing is too overvalued right now. The problem is, though, if we do get to that upper echelon near that 10 level, that means we are in the scary zone. So we'll watch this very carefully. I'll keep a close eye on this. And this could, if we do hit that 10 level, that indicates the top of the market, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we have our tools to look at this as well, top and bottom indicator, which I'll show in a second. So we now have a pretty good handle on where things could lead if things are the same as before. We shall see. And we have yet another chart too. This is another, same chart, but I added a red arrow. That's how high we need to get. See where the red arrow points to the previous impulses? If we do get up there, then it's time to kind of unfasten the seatbelt and get out. get out. But we're nowhere near that now, which is the good news. The question is, could it just be fizzling out because of ETFs and Treasuries? I don't know. We'll see. There are some other things too that are happening that are a little bit of concern. Bitcoin short-term holders have been selling. They've been taking profit. A lot of them, they thought they had a huge amount of Bitcoin at around 93.5, 95,000. And they were sitting on those losses. They were underwater for quite some time. And now that we've gotten above that, they're taking their 10% and they are running, which is typical market behavior, especially for the tourists, as they call them. People kind of jump in short term, and that's where we are. So, I forgot. This works with this software. I can use my key. Let me see. Oh, it's probably not even plugged in the back. Well, isn't that annoying? Oh, what a day. Anyway, let's talk about the top and bottom indicator. Live TV, ladies and gentlemen. This shows at the bottom section, the top is the Bitcoin price. And you can see the trend is still up for now. We have gone through a couple of big undulations with the tariff tantrums, etc. But what I want you to focus on is the bottom part of the chart, and that is the top and bottom indicator miner flow. And you can see here that the miners had started selling a crap ton, okay, in May, end of April, all of May, selling. The miners flipped from hodling to selling after spending all of April hodling as much as they could. But then they stopped. Then they went above the zero line and they started hodling again for about a week, and now they start dumping again. So the miner net flow total fell at 7.52%, indicating again, miners are increasingly sending their coins to exchanges instead of holding. And again, miner outflows don't always trigger immediate sell-offs, but they do create a little bit of resistance during recovery periods. Again, it's more supply out there. But between Sailor and the ETFs, they'll gobble this up. No problem whatsoever. Now, let's check in on what I call the $105,000 Battleground. We sometimes have these layers where there's just a lot of action, a lot of, we saw the bottom was 75. We saw previous struggles at 67K and 42K in the old days. But now this $105,000 is a peculiar level, and it speaks to me on the actual chart. So right now, if we look at our Lilo model for layers, you can see here very clearly we're currently at level, I got to blow this up so I can see it. Excuse my eyes. I don't want to say the wrong number. 105K is level 3. And then 109K is about level 4, which you've been to. And we're kind of stuck in that zone. 105 is showing some good support. We do breach down through it again. 103 is level 2. But we seem to be hovering between that level 2 and level 4 for now for Bitcoin. Now the question is, where do we go next? We have gone as high as nearly level 5. Coincidentally, level 5 is confluent with, guess what? That level that we spoke about at the very beginning. This one, 113K, where the shorts are accumulating. I wonder, are the shorts looking at this level 5 here on this chart from the Lilo model and saying, there's no way it's going to get that high, so it's a safe place to place our shorts, at least for up to liquidation levels. So I'm fascinated to see where this all plays out and where we go from here. Now, in addition, the puts are putting on the puts. This is the Bitcoin, shout out to Glassnode 2. The options put call option interest ratio fell recently from 0.64 to 0.56, and the open interest declined from 28.7 billion to 24.7 billion, and the put open interest dropped from 18.4 billion to 13.9 billion. However, we are still call heavy, but the unwind in both legs points to maybe a little bit of reduced conviction amid choppy price markets and a little more cautiousness out there in the market. Now, let's talk a bit about some of the other good stuff that's going on in the whole space. This is a piece written by Christopher Tepedino, and talks about how U.S. generals are looking to the U.S. having a Bitcoin become our strategic shield. And Cynthia Lummis, probably the top Bitcoin proponent for the U.S. in government right now, reveals that top U.S. military commanders, especially those stationed in Southeast Asia, are all for a national Bitcoin reserve. But I hear you asking, why do military care? Well, they view holding Bitcoin as a vital strategic hedge as economic sparring with China heats up, fortifying US both economically and in terms of military contests. And this is forward-thinking, the strategy that supports the administration's economic war narrative and aims to make the US a dominant force in Bitcoin, stark contrast to China, who are stacking gold and their, what was a historic restrictive approach. And those of you who remember Jason Lowry, his whole thing about how Bitcoin causes peace, let's hope that's the case. We like peace here in this channel, so don't forget that, everybody. Now, other stuff that's happening around the world with Bitcoin, because it's crazy. Shout out to Samson Mao. He believes there is some risk of the US being front-run on the Bitcoin reserve by other nations. And it's been over 3 or 4 months now, I think, since the US president signed the executive order. And Samson Mao says the US has to start acquiring Bitcoin this year. The risk is that the US is front-run by Pakistan, and they are on the stage in Vegas saying, well, you inspired us to start, so we're going to start. And this is Samson, who is a legend in the space. He also understands what's happening with Bitcoin around the world and all the nation-state plays. The question is, okay, this is why this matters. If the US is going to drag their feet for the end of the year, but other nation-states are buying, could that be enough to hold the Bitcoin price up? I think possibly yes, but a lot of people are concerned. Could be a double top in the market. I don't know. US president also, apparently, or the family or something like that, said they want to create their own Bitcoin ETF as well, and wallets and stuff. So they're whole hog into Bitcoin. Maybe the US president with a Bitcoin ETF wants to front run the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Maybe there's a stall game in play. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, everybody. Don't shoot the messenger. Just, you're hearing what's spinning through my head all at the same time regarding Bitcoin. And we're about to get into the Treasury part of the video. This is a cool Treasury poll from Bitcoin News. And that is, what's the optimal Bitcoin allocation for corporate treasuries? 1 to 5%, 10 to 25%, 50% sailor style, which is 100%, all in or nothing. And it's funny because I see 30.4% being 10 to 25% balanced, but the check mark somehow got into all or nothing. Not sure how that happened. The check mark should have been 10 to 25% balanced, but anyway, I thought it was interesting. Again, another meaningless poll, but I share nonetheless. And MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, have a third preferred. You can't make this stuff up. They're going to offer 2.5 million new Stride preferred shares to fund its Bitcoin buying spree. For the kids at home, what is 2.5 million times 100? That's a lot of money. And how much Bitcoin can you buy with it? Let's see if anybody can do that. But that's fascinating. Yet another financial vehicle to shake things up. And the reason we care is because I remember last year I made a video how MicroStrategy could reinvent the bond market. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. Okay, and shout out to Sanjay as well, who got me this beautiful graphic. This is the recursive loop for MicroStrategy on their Bitcoinized capital stack. So first of all, there is the Bitcoin buys, which drive the Bitcoin price up. I would personally argue Michael Saylor is responsible by himself for the Bitcoin price being in 6 digits right now as we speak. I'll zoom out for that again. Michael Saylor has done all the buying over the last 6 months, 7 months. He's done the next 3 years of buying for Bitcoin. That has pumped the price up more, I would argue, than the ETFs because he's bought more in a shorter window of time. But this is what they're doing now. They have Bitcoin buys, drives the price up, drives the volatility of MicroStrategy up. That brings an MNAV multiple expansion, which drives a higher asset cover ratio, which means they can sell ATM. But when the price is not quite there, if the MNAV is not there, or the NAV premium multiple is not there, they can also issue preferred stocks, STRK, STRF, STRD, and then they can buy more Bitcoin. So whether they issue ATM stock to buy Bitcoin or preferred, it doesn't really matter. They can do both ways. And I said in a video last week, they have capital markets kind of checkmated. And the reason we care is because of this. This is the market they're going after. And shout out to Jesse Myers with this beautiful chart together. And it is just a perfect example of exactly what Bitcoin's trying to do through MicroStrategy. And that is the bond market, debt market, $318 trillion, okay, is being modified because Michael Saylor now, through his different preferred options, are creating a new fixed income market with much better returns, with downside protection that's better than most debt instruments that are out there. And they're sucking all that money out of this old bond market and pumping it into the new backing of the new bond market, which is Bitcoin. So again, picture tells 1,000 words. This picture tells probably 10 million words. So shout out to Jesse. I love it. Keep them coming. And if that wasn't enough, guess what? Swiss Central Bank, SNB, is still stacking MicroStrategy. They just bought another $38 million more worth of MicroStrategy. This is happening all over. We mentioned Pakistan a minute ago, Switzerland, and guess who's next? Well, check this out. We have yet another treasury. This is the Starbucks of Spain. This is the cafe chain Vanadi to purchase $1.1 billion in Bitcoin for its treasury reserve. Wow, coffee shop has a lot of cash on hand to buy Bitcoin. But literally every day there's multiple treasuries. I can't even keep up. There used to be like one a week if we're lucky. And that became one a day. Now it's 2 or 3 a day all over the planet. This is not isolated to the US or Canada. This is now Brazil. This is Switzerland. This is Spain. This is Sweden. This is UK. Everywhere happening. And not just those countries. Russia. Russia's coming into play too. Why not? The water's warm. Russian billionaires are about to dive in and buy some Bitcoin. From the Bitcoin historian, $14 trillion Moscow exchange just launched Bitcoin and crypto futures trading. And remember, there's a very high concentration of wealth in the top echelons of Russia. And they see what's happening with the ruble. They see what's happening with fiat around the world. They're very tuned into that. And they're going to be looking to hedge big time. And this one came as a bit of a surprise to California. This was not on my bingo card, but the California State Assembly passed a bill that would allow state agencies to accept crypto for payment in a unanimous 68-0 vote, which will now head to the Senate. That's the good news. The bad news is the Orwellian part, which is kind of scary. Now, I have been deeply, deeply concerned about signals I've seen from around the planet about authoritarian regimes and Orwellian behavior and the need for UBI and governments not having enough money to fund themselves. So they've got to get creative with things like, oh, let's charge our citizens maybe unrealized capital gains. Well, this takes it a whole step further. Again, it's not law yet, but everywhere I look, I see alarming signs of these Orwellian times unfolding globally, and it terrifies me. But this one is particularly shocking because it's kind of, let's just say, close to home. No primary source of it, again, confirms the bill's exact details, but this is all over X today, and the bill said basically it's allowing the state to seize Bitcoin left idle on exchanges after 3 years under unclaimed property laws. Not your keys, not your coins. If true, this is beyond Orwellian. Now, what is the definition of untouched for 3 years? It's like, imagine you bought Bitcoin on Coinbase in California 3 years ago and you're a hodler. You wait 3 years. Then you go back in to check your account after 3 years and one day and poof, it's gone. That would be very, very upsetting. There would be knives out. The California citizens that are Bitcoin holders, if this state tries for 1 second to steal people's Bitcoin, there will be repercussions. And again, but ever since 2020, I've seen the dumbest things happen in the world. So nothing would surprise me anymore. I just want to make that perfectly clear. But it gets worse. It gets worse. Coinbase. Literally, I get a Coinbase scam call every single day. Scam text, etc. Remember, they'll never reach out. You can't even reach them if you tried. Okay? But this is about the Coinbase data breach. A Reuters investigation uncovered that Coinbase knew as early as January 2025 about a data breach involving outsourced customer support agents in India. 6 sources with the matter confirmed that the Coinbase exchange knew they had a data leak. They knew sensitive user information had been compromised through its contractor, TaskUs, months before the formal disclosure in May. That is shady AF, as they say. Okay? Brian Armstrong, get out there and say some words. Okay? Prove that this is not true. If it is true, people are exposed. People get hacked. People get scammed because they have their information and they weren't aware that their information was in the hands of other people. This gets me heated, everybody. Very heated. But I'm going to end on a happy note because this is funny. So again, if this is the other thing that I mentioned about a couple of weeks ago. I won't let this one go for a second. They changed their class action lawsuit laws and jurisdiction before they even released the fact that all the customers' data had been breached. And that's why everybody's getting so many phone calls right now. And many are being scammed. Many are losing their life's wealth. If that's the case, try find an attorney, go after these people tooth and nail, because that is not good practice. Again, if Reuters is correct. Sometimes Reuters are not correct, but sometimes they are. So be careful out there, everybody. Coinbase will never reach out. This Indian firm will never reach out. They got no customer support. You're on your own completely. So be careful. When a scammer calls you and say, oh, we're Coinbase, we're worried somebody's tampering with your account. No, it's not them. Okay. Finishing on a happy note. I like to finish on a happy note. Meme du jour. I thought this was the cutest thing I saw all day. Person in number 3 has 0.1 Bitcoin and they are celebrating the fact and delighted. And the person in first place has 10 Bitcoin. And I was looking at the person at 0.1. Remember, happiness is relative. Don't steal each other's joy or whatever they say. This is just a happy note. So thank you all for coming. Sorry about that little California Coinbase. Why with all the C's? All the heatedness of the C's. I prefer the B's, both the ones that fly and the Bitcoin B's too. Thank you all for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show. One of those days, ladies and gentlemen. I promise I'll be calmer tomorrow, but hopefully I will not be uncovering news like this. Okay? Stay safe. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.